So you're new to FPL and you don't know how to really form your new FPL team. Or you've played it before, but you just want to know what the best players in FPL generally do when they budget out their team. Well, I'm going to tell you what the top players do to make their team as balanced as possible, coming up next. What's up guys, JNO here and welcome to JNO United, bringing you the best in football news, entertainment and games. And today we're looking at how the best players in FPL actually form out their team, how much money they spend in goalkeeper, defence, midfield and up front. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe. We're doing 30 days of FPL and we're doing really well. We've got some momentum behind it. The subscriber count is soaring, so thank you so much if you're new around here. And of course, thank you to the people that have been with me for about a year now. And as always, leave in the comment section down below what you have to say about the topic of this video. But now let's get into it. How do the top players in FPL actually budget out their teams? We'll start with the goalkeeping position. Now, there isn't much leeway here for budget, purely because the keepers go from 4.5 and then maybe very rarely, if there is a standout keeper that is that much better than everyone else, go up to 6. But overall, the top players in FPL do not spend over 9.5 million in the goalkeeper department. The general strategy used to be 2 4.5 million goalkeepers, which would bring you a total of 9 million. But with the FPL point system changing, saves became something that could get you points. Clean sheets is the bread and butter of goalkeepers, but saves could also get you points. Petr Cech became a very popular and reliable option at Arsenal because Arsenal are known for having a decent defence, suddenly have a world-class goalkeeper behind it, and Petr Cech was a pretty certain safe bet for points last season. But he came in at 5.5 million, which meant some people picked a 4 million goalkeeper as their sub, who they had no intention of playing, and if Cech got injured, they'd have to use a transfer. Other than that, you can go for the 5 million and 4.5 million backup and then rotate if necessary, but generally you do not want to be spending over 9.5 million. You want to have at least 90 million plus to spend on the rest of the team. Then we go with defence, and there's varied tactics you can go with in defence. Now, a popular version is to pick as many cheap players as you think you can that you can rotate. Usually that's 2 cheap defenders or 3 cheap defenders at 4.5 million, and then you rotate as necessary. The most popular formations are 3-4-3 and then 3-5-2. So you're only going to play one of those 3, and then you pick 2 defenders you are going to stick with, hopefully for the majority of the season, that you're confident in getting you points. These can be 2 elite priced defenders, or if someone breaks out and shows that they are worth the money, you can put in someone cheaper as one of these certain defenders. Maybe take the Leicester defence last year, they weren't that expensive, but you could put them in knowing that over the season they're going to get you decent points. So to sum it up, you've got 2 defenders you are confident in, and then 3 defenders that you can rotate, or 3 defenders you're confident in, and then just 2 defenders that are there to make up the numbers if you need to play 4-4-2 or 4-5-1, or if you're just putting them there to sit on the bench and come on if necessary. The total you want to be spending on these 5 defenders is around the 25 to 27 million mark. Now, depending on how heavy hitting you're going with your forwards, you'd be looking at around the 25 million. If you're looking for a more balanced team, you can go 26, 27. But you don't want to spend too much more than that. Then we go to the mass of your budget in midfield. Now, because there's 5 midfielders and you want these midfielders to be getting you points, you're going to need to spend the majority of your money here. Some players new to FPL go straight for the forwards, pick Aguero, Kane and Vardy and think they'll be fine. Now, whilst that will get you points, it's not going to get you into the top elite players. The general strategy for midfield is to have 1 or 2 elite midfielders, players that everyone knows of, like De Bruyne, like Sanchez, like Yaya Toure when he was really tearing up the Premier League, or Aaron Ramsey when he was on fire scoring goal after goal. Or you could go for 1 elite midfielder if there are players like Dimitri Payet and Riyad Mahrez around. Then you can go for what is called a breakout midfielder, which is players that are doing better than their value suggested they would do at the start of the season. Mahrez is a prime example of that last year. You didn't need 2 elite midfielders when Mahrez was clearly the best midfielder to have. So you can either go with 2 elite and 2 breakout midfielders, or base it off of form with those 2 breakout midfielders, or you can go with 1 elite and 3 breakout midfielders, depending on how well these breakout midfielders are doing. And then the 5th midfielder, you could go for someone that you just want to sit on the bench, and maybe someone that plays regularly and will just come on and get you some points if necessary, 2 or 3 points, and they'd be around the 5 million mark. But last year it became popular to have 5 decent midfielders when the likes of Dele Alli and Michael Antonio were still scoring good points despite their cheap value. In total, you're looking at spending around 38 to 42 million on your midfield. And then we come to the strikers. Now, depending on your budget as the season goes on, this could change, but at the beginning you want one of the elite forwards. You're looking at Aguero, Vardy, Kane, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Diego Costa if you think is going to come back into form. Then you want someone mid-priced, someone that you know will have a good season but maybe isn't going to be vying for the golden boot in the Premier League. Someone like Lukaku or Giroud, or even Daniel Sturridge, seeing as his injury proneness has dropped his price. And then you want to go for the budget forward. Budget forwards have become very popular because you'll still get strikers in lower sides in the bottom half of the table that can score a decent amount of goals in a season. Igalo was one last year. Vardy would have been one, but then he went on a tear and scored a ridiculous amount of goals. Troy Deeney, Callum Wilson, all of them scored a decent amount of goals while they were playing that you didn't necessarily need to have 3 mid-priced and expensive strikers, because that money would be better spent in midfield, because in the modern game, midfielders are scoring lots of goals too. You're looking at spending around 26 to 28 million in the striker category to have a decent balanced side. Anyway guys, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think of this team building strategy that has been proven that the majority of top players use. Other than that, all I can say is thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been JNO, you've been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.